Welcome back, guys. Let's get this opening started. We actually have here 3 of the Structure Deck Fire King. There's more over here. Just no need to have all of them, presented because one will do enough. They're all the same stuff. So let's open up this product. Structure decks are pretty much the only Konami product that you aren't going to get burned on, pun intended. So let's just go and get this started. So we open this up. It's a new box. Before I open it, you can kind of see it's kind of weird. It's not that thick. It's like, look at that, very, very tiny. So let's open this up. If you're looking here, you got your standard mat. Let's open this up. Looks pretty cool. The artwork's like super sick. Like you got Grunix and then Kieran and then the one that no one plays. So that's that. Then you go. The inside is weird. It's like this carton thing's holding it down. Super weird. If you flatten that carton and then rip, I don't want to mess the deck up. F this box. And here it is, the Structure Deck Fire King. Let's see, how do you open these? These are so complicated, man. Oh, no, this one came off hella easy. Let's go. Good vibes. Okay, so we're first starting out with Grunix. Such a cool card. Like, straight up, like, what needs to be said? Dude looks hella intense. Flamey, dude, flamey. He's, I think, 2 to 3 of. There's no, like, standard ratio yet. The deck's too new, and the deck's just going to keep changing as support comes out. So, Kieran, probably the best card in this deck. Basically, Sharvara, for anyone that's played Unchained. It's like Sharvara, but even, like, in some cases, better, because both of its effects are amazing like Sharvara's, but Sharvara can only do stuff on the field. Well, this dude can actually pop in hand, so he can trigger like half Noose on turn 0. And there's this guy. I don't think you really run too many. Get to that deck profile right after this anyway. But yeah, just for the sake of speed, we'll speed this up a little after, especially after like the new cards. Fire King Sanctuary, it's pretty much your, like with Ponix, your starter. Then you got the XYZ, dude's great, nuke on your opponent's turn, really powerful. Then this card, it's kind of been underrated by people. It's really good when you're going second. It helps you dodge like imperm and effect veiler effects and pop stuff, so it's really strong. I think this card's pretty trash, but you never know. Konami might come out with support that makes this good. Highly doubt it, but yeah. And then like that's the new stuff. The old stuff is Grunix, Barong, Yaksha, Old Kieran, Blaster, this, Coach King Bearman, this dude, Dagron's cool. Cards kind of feel like thin, weirdly. Blazing Mars, Colossus. This card's so cool. One of the coolest old cards, like ever. These guys, Spirit of Flames. This card's low-key underrated in this deck. I think we're going to be running one of it for sure. And then, this thing, Alpha, just got reprinted in 7 rarities. They didn't think it was enough. Here's another one. Droll, always welcome. Actually, I'm going to separate this because it's actually a good card. Onslaught, not needed. Circle, actually a good card. Rekindling, pretty good, but won't be ran. Tenki's pretty good, you run it. Dark Hole, funny enough, even though it literally triggers everything, you don't run it because your island does all this stuff, all the work for you. Trade-in just stopped being good a long time ago. Like a card that just draws you cards, but doesn't bless you, is just kind of pointless. Like Pot of Desires does the same thing and no one runs it. Actually, no, it doesn't do the same thing, it does better. Herald of the Abyss, good card. Flammo counter, it's fine. Torrential's good, it's like a old staple. Solemn also. Infinite Permanence, finally in common, really nice. And then Power Sink Stone. And then some more extra deck in Coach King Giant Trainer, Diamond Direwolf, and Hida the Fire Charmer Ablaze. Old Garunix, which is really cool, but it's not going to be used, I don't think. Arvada, and Fire King Island. So that's the deck opening. Let's get this deck profile underway. The deck profile while we're all here. So, apologize in advance for the glare over here. The lighting setup is just so annoying. But you guys can see from the other 2 what it is. You run triple Ponix, the baby bird, one of the cutest cards I've ever seen. Like, I remember people were saying that about Tsuchinoko. That card was hideous. This card's legit cute. So, run 3 of him. He's your searcher. He's your starter. He's the 1-card combo. Perhaps the best new card, but I think all 3 of this card and the next subsequent 3 cards are the best card in the deck. Really, you don't know which ones are the overall best. So triple Kieran, the card is busted. It's like Sharvara, but like if Sharvara could also hit stuff in hand on turn 0. So imagine if Unchained could hit a trap. Well, I guess you wouldn't do a trap, but if you could hit something in hand and then that procs an effect off, you know, it doesn't, but hey, a man can dream. Then we got triple Big Bird Garunix. A lot of people are saying put this to 1 or 2. 3, I believe, should be standard for now because the card is busted if you proc it off on turn 0. Like your opponent's going, you Kieran something, Garunix triggers in hand, summons, you can pop something in the deck, such as the Kieran, pop your opponent's card on their turn 0, and set yourself up with like 2 to 3 monsters before your turn's even begun. Triple a Fire King Sanctuary. This card is super nutty. Basically helps, along with Ponix, tie the whole archetype together because it did have this card before, but this card wasn't good enough. Plus the stuff it searched, it just wasn't, none of it was good enough. So far, these are all your Fire King starters. As you can see, consistency shouldn't be an issue. Now, we just need a little bit more consistency. 3 of these cards are your starters. These cards, they're based, this is wanted for broke boys. So nothing more needs to be said. If you guys need to know, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen other profiles that have said why you run this, the standard Dogmatica Maximus. You want to run 2 tanky, but the problem is Droll is so prevalent in this meta that if you were to draw multiples, you activate 1, you get Drolled, it's over. Also, if you do get Drolled and you have multiples in hand, you'd much rather just have the Beast Warrior as opposed to the tanky in hand, because you can actually destroy the Beast Warrior and continue to play. While the tanky, you cannot really destroy. You can't do anything with it. It just stays in your hand. It's kind of trash. So then we have double Arvada. He's the negator. He helps extend. He's like a pseudo Kieran, like a crappier one, because he can, you know, special from graveyard, and but the effect's negated, but it does also destroy them in the end phase to proc their effects. It's pretty good. Double Barong. He's I've almost wanted to run him at 3. I know people say he's a bad card, but if you do destroy like 2 to 3 copies in a turn, you get 3 searches in the next standby, and then that's basically a good game from there. There's no way they can beat you after you card a demised off of that. Like, that's crazy. 3 new cards. And plenty of times in testing, when I ran 3, I would destroy 3. But sometimes he did brick, so you cut it down to 2. 2 I feel is pretty much optimal. And then 1 ring volley. I don't know if you should even run this, but it's enough, like there's enough stuff prevalent in the meta that if you run ring volley, you can kind of normal him out and then make your special summon plays, and he can insulate you from infinite impermanence. So while Arvata helps insulate you from Ash, which is kind of the bane of this deck's existence, unless you hard drew into like hella combo. And then the 1-up Fencing Fire Ferret, some people might say this card is dog ass and you shouldn't run it. Kieran does the job, but Kieran in a grind game, you can run out of Kierans. Obviously Kieran's the best, and you wish like you can optimally like use your Kierans, but there's no way to really recycle guys back to the deck. So Fencing Fire Ferret just comes up as like that 4th Kieran for the pop. And he can also burn in time, 500 life points. And then 2 of these cards. These are the other parts of the engine that you search. If you draw the Sanctuary, you can get Circle, which helps you play around hand traps, helps you reborn stuff. This kind of helps you resummon Kieran, resummon Garunix, help proc off some of those effects. Like you can pop Kieran, summon Garunix, and then you get like both effects, and it's nutty. And then more engine requirements, the Maximus and the Fleur-de-Lis. You don't have to run the Fleur-de-Lis, but or Fleur-de-Lis, but the Maximus is like the playmaker. He's the Dark Witch of this deck. And then triple Ash. It's a good hand trap. It's not the best in this format. Plenty of decks can play right through it. It's kind of like what Valor was like 5-6 years ago, where Valor has actually improved, where Ash was insane 5-6 years ago, while Valor was kind of mid. Now it's like Ash is like more mid, and Valor's kind of insane. So, you know, but still, Ash is really nice. Run at 3. Big reason is the fire attribute. Triple Droll. Why you run this? Because so many FTK decks in the format, you just stop their searches, and you know, you win the game. And then triple Infinite Impermanence. The card's nutty. It plays around Talons. It's got, you know, hella advantages. It's maybe the best hand trap in the game. I don't run Valor in the main, even though I just complimented the hell out of it because it's a light, and the Ash attribute comes up much more than the Valor attribute comes up. And you don't need that many hand traps. It was between Droll and Veiler in the main. The Droll came in these structures, so I said, screw it, let's be on theme. And it is still busted in this format, so. But yeah, Veiler, you could definitely side it. It's no big deal. But I also have other non-engine after the Imperm, which comes now. It's like the double Book of Moon and the Called By. So let's put it like this. So you run double Book of Moon and the Called By. 41 card deck. Called By is the 41st card. You can't really cut any of these because the deck without Diabellstar, you lock yourself out of the extra deck with Nadir, and so you must run something to be able to push your combo through. And what Called By does is insulate you from Veiler, from Ash, and from any monster type hand trap, even D-Shifter. Book of Moon becomes the second and third copy of Called By. It doesn't stop Ash and Shifter, but Shifter's more of a side deck card anyway. It does stop Veiler and Imperm, because if you normal your Ponix, activate effect, they chain Imperm or Veiler, you can Book of Moon your own Ponix. The Ponix will resolve, even if they were to have a second Veiler or a second Imperm, because face down monsters won't have their effect negated by those cards because they have to negate it, the target face up. So, and this was confirmed by a judge. So the Book of Moon essentially becomes another Called By the Grave. And it's also, if you don't get hand trapped, the Book of Moon just becomes a good defensive card. So you can normal Ponix, they Veiler, Imperm, whatever, you Book of Moon it, the effect will resolve, you get Sanctuary, you make all your plays, and then you can pop the face down Ponix, because Fire King Island doesn't care if it's face up, face down, or what attribute or type or anything, you can pop anything. So that's the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. You want to run double of the Hyong, the Garunix in the extra, the Eternity. He's the nuke. We all know what he does. He's got some nuance to him. Basically, there's a lot of cool interactions in this deck where you can pop him after you've used his effect on your opponent's turn. If your opponent gets rid of him by destruction, you get to resolve his effects. You can reborn Ponix back. You can reborn Garunix. Garunix can trigger on its summon to pop another card from the deck, causing another pop. So your opponent really has to play around this. He can't just willy-nilly, you know, oh, this card's not too bad, I'll just destroy it. No, if you destroy this card, it just is a whole mess of problems. Honestly, it's better just leave on the field. But then when it comes back to you, you can just pop it with your island and then still get all the effects. So really broken. Then you run one Dingirsu. He's level 8, helps protect your board, and on summon can send something. It's really good. You run one Hita, Abramax, just a solid option to be able to out big stuff. Your opponent like becomes a magnet, can protect some of your monsters. He's really big, can't be targeted, so all around really hard card to out. It's very it's a big headache. A lot of the current format really doesn't know how to deal with him. Then Unicorn, just a good card, like discount SP, and then the Heat Soul engine, right, like these three. You can sometimes go into this if you're not afraid of Nib, and then just get like 2 draws off of the Heat Soul. A card returns to your hand by Sunlight Wolf, so you can set up for like next turn. It's pretty solid. I don't know if it'll stay once you know, the better cards come out, but currently it's solid inclusion in the deck. And then like truly all of this so far has just kind of been like, you can take it or leave it. You can run it, you don't have to. Except the Hyong, you need to run that because that's part of like the whole combo. So like that, the rank 8 is the only important card in the extra. Everything else is kind of up to interpretation. These are just some solid ideas for you, and then you can kind of go wild. This card you must include. Once he's sent to the graveyard off of Dogmatica Maximus, he gets you your Ponix and basically starts your whole engine. This card, you want to run him because if you draw Maximus, you can send him off of Nadir instead, search Fleur de Lis, and then heal trigger, sending Garura, drawing you a card, and then you can summon your Maximus, and it still like helps you just go off. Because Garura can't search Fleur de Lis, so basically your extra deck's kind of locked up. But these two I would recommend to run. This one you have to run if you run Dogmatica. This one you don't, but it's good to help you in a pinch because Dogmatica Maximus sticks to your hand closer to than any other card in the freaking game. Like, you draw the 1-of brick every single time, and you'll never draw the 3-of. That's the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then the Relinquished Anima, he's almost semi-standard, because anything level 1, you just, like if they misplay, they don't play around your zones, you can just dunk on them. Titaniclad, in the combo, you do Dogmatica Maximus. You'll send him as your second option to get an interruption in Fleur de Lis. Elder into the Entis if you're trying to break boards. If you already have Maximus in hand, you can search for Lee and send the Entis and blow up your opponent. And then last card, pretty much the most important card, is Garura. You run it because it is your combo starter. And real quick, I'll just go through that combo. I'm sure you've seen it, but hey, let's just get it in case you haven't. All right, so now we'll just do the one card Nadir Servant combo. This is like the wanted seeker of spoils, but just for like dudes that are like, hey, I got 50 bucks to my name, so I'm just trying to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Relax. I don't want to give my heart and soul to Konami so that I can just play this card game. Activate Nadir Servant, send Garura, add off out of the deck, add your Dogmatica Maximus. So Nadir Servant will go to grave. Garura will trigger, drawing you one more card, right? Then you'll do Dogmatica Maximus by banishing the Garura from graveyard. Activate Maximus effect, sending your Titaniclad and your Shurg. On sending to graveyard, Shurg will trigger, getting you Ponix to hand. Then now you will normal summon your Ponix. Sorry for the camera. Ponix effect will trigger, adding you Sanctuary to hand. So we'll move this off the side. Activate Sanctuary, Sanctuary effect. Place a Fire King Island in your field zone. Activate Fire King Island, destroy the Ponix. Ponix goes to graveyard. You'll add your Grunix to hand. Grunix will trigger in hand. Special summon. Effect to destroy a monster in the deck. You'll destroy Barong. And then that'll be the end of your turn, essentially. Because this is going off the assumption that, let's say these are like blanks, right? So you'll end with this board with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in hand currently, right? Then you'll go to your opponent's turn. In the standby, you'll trigger these 2 monsters in your graveyard. You'll trigger the Ponix, return it to the hand, and you're going to trigger Barong, which in the standby will search you any Fire King card from the deck, and you'll get Kieran. So you had Kieran in hand. So at this moment, you got Ponix, Kieran, 5 cards in hand, and all of this setup. When your opponent does something, you can decide to go Kieran, popping the Ponix in hand, special summon it, and then the Ponix will come back to you in the next standby phase, and you can Fire King Sanctuary, and you'll XYZ summon Kyong using Kieran and Garunix, blow up your opponent's board, and blow up also Maximus too. You can't use Maximus because it only makes Fire King Sanctuary only says Fire King monsters for the XYZ. But still, in this moment, off of 1 card, you still have 5 others in hand traps, what else? You blew up your opponent. And then there's like hella different combo variants. You know, like if you open up, we'll do another one real quick. So in this instance, we open up Ponix, Kieran, Garunix. This actually can be triggered off by drawing. You don't have to have Ponix. Ponix is just the best option. But if you don't have Ponix and you want to go with maybe a Barong or whatever, it doesn't matter. You still can trigger this off. So your opponent's playing. This is turn 0. Your opponent's gone first. So they're, I guess, turn 1 for them, but turn 0 for you. They're going first. You go, once they've hit a spot where you feel like you can choke them off in the combo, you'll go Kieran, effect, to destroy the Ponix or whatever other fire in hand that you have. So that goes to grave, special summon the Kieran. And then you have the Garunix effect trigger in hand to special summon itself. And then it can, in this moment, destroy another Kieran from your deck. Second, find the Kieran, because of course not anywhere to be found. Destroy the Kieran in your deck. And now, when Kieran activates in the graveyard, because he was just destroyed, you can special summon Ponix back to the field, and on resolution of Kieran's effect in grave, you can destroy 1 card your opponent controls non-targeting. So you can actually destroy your card too, but you can use it to interrupt. You can pop something of yours, you can pop something of your opponent's. Kieran's very good like that. So That's a really cool combo. And Ponix will trigger getting you a search, so you'll get your Sanctuary or whatever else. I mean, there's whatever, but then you can go Sanctuary add to hand, and off of that combo, on turn 0, where you're not even allowed to be playing technically, you can basically break the rules by using Kieran's effect. Do all this. You start your turn with 3 monsters. Your opponent has no battle phase, obviously, so they can't out this with battle. They could out it if they still have monsters to summon to follow up, but overall, you still start. If they destroy them, you get them back. You'll discard. Okay, so he won't trigger, but you'll get the Ponix back. They're not gonna out all this on turn 0, and then you got Sanctuary for follow up, another 2 cards. It's really, really nice. That's why you want to run triple Garunix. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, opening, combo, everything. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.